Hi, everybody. Thanks for the introduction. So I'm Behshad from Google, working on search for the last 10 years. And today I'm going to tell you what's the future of search, or what we in Google think the future of search is. And I hope actually that you will also get why that actually fits a bit good, this conference and the chatbot, because all conversations, natural conversations, and having back and forth conversation with the assistant is something that it's very aligned with what we think of the future. So I have actually as you see, there's two devices here. This old projector, which I had never seen it for, I hadn't seen it for many years, but. So I'm trying to be brave and do lots of demos live. These demos might go wrong. So also I didn't sleep much yesterday night, as you see from my voice maybe. So that's most of my talk. I think that's it's going to be much nicer for you guys to spend more time on that. But then initially I have some slides which I very quickly go through them. They're more than the time that it's assigned here. But so sorry if I'm going fast on my slides. So let's get started. Yes, I'm going to talk about the future of search. That's what actually my team in Zurich is working in the past 4 years on these things mostly. And so when we think about future, we have seen some slides similar to this also in the morning session. We think always about one way to think about it is to check what science fiction movies we're thinking about the future. This is a Star Trek series from 50 years ago, where Captain Kirk was talking to the computer and getting basically all wide range of answers on different questions. So 50 years later, this is from last year or 2 years ago, I guess, this is the movie Her. And in this movie also, the very high-level interaction was very similar. Again, you see that some assistant which you talk to by voice, and you get you have basically your voice interaction, and then you get answers and help for many different areas. This was 50 years later, and in both of these are science fiction movies. They are imagining the future. The first one is imagining 200 years in the future. The second one is only imagining 20 years in the future. I personally think that this thing or something similar to that is going to happen less than 20 times in 20 years in the future. Maybe not exactly like movie Her, but perhaps something even more powerful, but maybe less crazy. So these things is going to happen. The conclusion of my talk is that this is the future. I'll tell you that from now. So let's first look into the past, though. Many of my friends tell me, this many number of people in Google, what do you guys do is on working on Google search? Isn't it a solved problem? Why do you still continue working on that? This is what Google was in '98. Rather a simple algorithm, but I would say a smart one, and it was giving some good ranking of the search results. The search results were only blue links. And this timeline, I'm not going through that, but the main point of that is to show that there has been lots of milestones and big changes in search in the past 18 years now. And it's while search and expectations of users is changing a lot. Also, what we are serving is also really changing a lot in these years. So I will only choose some of these bullets and very quickly just mention them. These are some of my favorite ones. One of the first one is synonyms. So synonyms means that this was in 2002, first time that we introduced synonym in search, and that's from which moment we start to understand that CS means computer science in some sentence, and Credit Suisse in some other sentence. And so this basically means that from that moment, we didn't need anymore to exactly match the words in the web pages. Before that, you needed to really exactly match the words in the web pages. So that really started to make the interactions easier. Then one other big change was universal search in 2007. This is when we started to introduce new types of results in the search results. So we start to have also images, videos, news, and these are not only anymore web pages. So we have to start to rank different types of context, like oranges and apples, and decide which one is more appropriate. So if you say, how should I tie a tie? You want a video on top. That's maybe the best result that you can have. A very big change in Google search and many of its features and And technology behind it was knowledge graph, which started in 2012. And the usage of knowledge graph is really growing and growing inside search. Basically, what it means is that from that moment, we start to understand things. As before that, we really were only counting and thinking things, well, we're thinking some word like king as a character, as a series of characters, K-I-N-G. But then we start to, from that moment, to really understand kings could mean sometimes an ice hockey team and sometimes a television series or a basketball team. So if you say LA Kings, for example, then we know that this is an ice hockey team. These numbers, each time I show, I give a similar talk, I have to update them. This time actually I didn't, so maybe these are not the most up-to-date ones. But the most important message here is that these numbers are very fast growing. The reason that I need always to update it is because we are investing a lot in that, and it's the base of many of the technologies that we're building in better understanding things. So what's next? Because the talk is about the future. So in order to talk about the future, I think it's good to, all of you know, but again, it's good to really realize that the world is changing. The biggest change which matters for this, for predicting future of search is the world is becoming mobile. So in 2015, the number of people who searched on mobile was more than the number of people who searched on desktop. And the graph is like this. So over time, people more and more are searching on mobiles and less on desktop. So if we are thinking about future of search, we have to think mobile. There's no other way. Most people actually access Google only through mobiles. They never have done, or many people never have done that through the desktop. When we talk mobile, we normally mean the cell phones, mobile phones, but it's also, there's lots of other types of mobile devices, which is becoming more and more popular. It's growing very slowly, but that's also, these mobile devices are also things which move with you and know about your context and can help you to assist you in different contexts. And the Internet of Things, so the home and everything is becoming more connected, so you can more and more talk to the devices. And talking about talking, on mobile, really people use increasingly more and more speech. So the reason for it, there's multiple reasons for that. First of all, there's more and more situations where it's becoming more and more acceptable to talk to your phone. I'm going to talk to my phone in front of you for 20 minutes at least, or half an hour maybe. But I think one reason actually, one big reason that that's actually happening is because speech recognition has really improved a lot. The technology behind the speech recognition has improved a lot. So 2 years ago, every maybe I think 25% was nearly the error rate that we had. So this means that every 4 words, one of them was detected wrong. Now is, I think, in a good environment, across all the voice recognition is 8%, or less than that. In a good environment should be also even less than that. And I hope to be able to prove that live. So one thing which is interesting is that when you talk with voice, speech, to interact with your mobile with that, you naturally use more natural language. So people don't go to the desktop, to the search box and type. If they want to ask for weather, they say weather tomorrow. But if you're talking to your phone, it's actually very natural to say, hey, Google, can you please tell me what's the weather going to be tomorrow? No one is going to type that long sentence, but it's very natural to speak that. Same way as many people say thank you or things like that, and again, these are not something that you would type. So the interaction is changing, and the natural language sentences is really growing. So we have to basically be ready for handling a lot more complex natural language. And of course, in the mobile world, people are finding their answers not only in web. There's a whole app ecosystem, and there is going to be the whole chatbot ecosystem. So again, we have to think about all those types of all those changes in order to think about the future. And messaging apps are growing. I think some slide like that maybe was shown before. People now spend more time on messaging apps than social networks. So that's another change in the world. And with that, so what's then with all of this? What's the future of search? I mean, I didn't want it to make a surprise. I think that's perhaps all of you know, but that's what we're actually working on seriously for a number of years to really build the ultimate assistant. So we do want to build an assistant which understands the world, so it can answer things for you about the world. It understands you and your world because this is your assistant, so should be able to answer questions about you. It should understand context. Context is really important. And so that it really understands that in this particular context, what you say, what does what you say mean in the current context? Then you want to the assistant be basically with you whenever you need it, wherever you are, and help you get things done. That's why it's called assistant. So with that, I will start to go to the risky part of my talk. So I actually will show you lots of demos. Actually, maybe 1 second. In many different areas. I show you about questions, about answers about the world, about personal answers, context and conversation, apps and actions, now on tap, and then finally I'll finish with Google Assistant. I'll also show Google Assistant in Hello, which is perhaps the closest to what you guys like most. And that's actually something that we built it in our team in Zurich. OK, so back to here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my password. OK. So first of all, answers about the world. So we want to have an assistant which can answer things, pretty much everything for you. This is actually really the goal that the team in Google is putting for the answers team in Google is putting. The objective they have is answer everything. And so like a few years back, we were answering things like how old is Barack Obama and what's the population of somewhere. But now we're really trying to expand this to a much larger range of questions. So let's start with a simpler one. And then, what is the population of Vienna?
Vienna was 1.741 million in 2013.
OK, so that's an easy one. But now let's quickly go to a little bit more harder ones. Show me a list of cocktails with vodka.
Cocktails frequently mentioned on the web include Cosmopolitan, Bloody Mary, Moscow Mule, and others.
What are the ingredients of Bloody Mary?
Bloody Mary ingredients: Worcestershire sauce, pepper, half an ounce, 1 part, lemon juice, and others.
Which Mary was Bloody Mary?
According to Wikipedia, she was the only child of Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, to survive to adulthood.
What is the largest amusement park in Germany?
According to Wikipedia, Europa Park is a theme park and the largest in Germany, and the second most popular theme park resort in Europe, following Disneyland Paris. Europa Park is located in Rust, in southwestern Germany, between Freiburg and Strasbourg, France.
Show me a list of rides in Europa Park. Ta-da.
Europa Park's rides include Blue...
Maybe I shouldn't have said that in. Show me the list of rides in Europa Park.
Europa Park's rides include Blue...
OK. Something's going crazy with my phone. So we can try. Show me the list of rides in Europa Park. This is just
Europa Park's rides include Blue...
OK. So we can, it's Blue Fire and something else. I can try to continue and see whether it catches up or not. What is the max speed for Blue Fire?
Blue Fire's max speed is 99.8 kilometers per hour.
So what I'm trying to show you here is that the range of question is really growing. So it's like I'm talking about the max speed of a ride in an attraction park now. And what is the height restriction?
You must be at least 1.31 meters tall to ride Blue Fire.
So note that this is both kind of contextual, but also, again, height restriction of a ride. So we We also have expanded our capability of answering questions which are a little bit more complex. For example, you might want to combine two things. We have questions like, how tall is the husband of Khloe Kardashian?
Lamar Odom is 2.08 meters tall.
So this is actually a very popular query, I mean, they beside each other, one of them is much taller. So note that first we have to solve husband of Khloe Kardashian and then answer one property on that person. We have also cases, very similar cases like, how tall is the actor who played Chewbacca?
Peter Mayhew is 2.18 meters tall.
So let me also show you one example of like a natural language, really longer type of question. Hey, can you please tell me what was the score of Barcelona in Champions League last week?
Barcelona beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-1.
So as you notice, we don't need to really, the target is, the objective is to really not need to think how should I formulate my questions, but really tell it as natural as you can. The other thing I want you guys to notice is that the speech recognition is actually improving. So with a mic and with some echoes, this is not actually the best environment for the, and I'm not getting the mic really very close to my mouth. So, but speech recognition is improving. I think one thing I like to do is maybe also show you how speech recognition has been improving in the voicey environment. So, but for that, I need to, in a noisy environment, so for that, I need you guys to kind of make noise. So we can choose a search query, for example, some of you guys want Manchester United next game or something like that, or anything from someone? Who developed the Google Assistant? Okay. So can you please cut the mic? When the mic is cut, then you please try to make as much noise as you can. And really, I want to just try that. I don't know whether it works or not, but so. Okay, so this you are still hearing? So that's actually works. So you can see that actually speech recognition starts to work. Actually, with my team, we have a party culture, so we often go to loud, noisy places, and we had this problem of not being able. So, but this really actually has changed. So, if you have been trying voice search a few years back and thought it's not working, give it a try again. It works. So this is about answers, about the world. So now I want to show you answers about your world. So this is my personal assistant. So it has to be able to answer things for me, which would not answer the very same thing if you try. For example, I can say, where is my work? So this is actually the address of the Google in Switzerland. I can say, how far is my work from my home?
The drive from your home to your work is 39 kilometers.
Actually, it's 30.9. And I was surprised too. I'm traveling here, so I can ask something like, when is my flight?
Austrian Airlines Flight 8803 from Vi to ZRH leaves at 9:45 tomorrow.
When is my next meeting with Alex Bailey?
You have a calendar entry on the 18th of October at 10 o'clock. The title is GBOT Jaw Twice a Week Sync.
So the bot is really bot. That's actually the name of one of my teams at Google Bot. And so this is the internal name of the Google Assistant in Allo. JA means Japanese, so we're working on Japanese version. Let's try some more. Show me my emails about Vienna. So this is the last two emails, for example, I got from Vienna. Note that how much time I'm saving. I'm not going again, opening my email and try to search there. I just say it directly to the assistant, and I can try to find that there. Same thing would work for pictures. Show me my pictures of Barcelona.
Check out these pictures.
So these are pictures which I took with my parents maybe 2 years ago or something like that. Again, if I really needed to go and find them, I had to spend a lot more time and go to the Photos app. I remember when it was, maybe next page, or something like that. And that's now thanks to both image recognition and natural language understanding and speech recognition. All these together can make these become much easier. Note that I never tagged anything Barcelona. But of course, pictures are taken in Barcelona, so it's easier to know that. But I can also say things like, show me my pictures of bullfighting.
Check out these pictures.
So I don't like bullfighting. It's the only time I went in my life, and I don't recommend. But why I'm showing it is to just show that the image recognition technology improvement is also, this is all automatic. Nothing is tagged, taken by some other phone some years ago, and I can just retrieve it that easily. And this is, again, personal to me, because it's my personal assistant, so I can find things which is in my world. OK, so let's now move to the next parts of the demos, which I'm trying to show you some of the things about integration with apps and actions and apps, or things like that. So actually, there's a light here. It's very hard for me to see the mic. But the reason I don't say OK Google right away each time is because it's going to be many times, and it's going to be boring for you. And that's one of the things that I think for voice interaction you don't want to necessarily each time say OK Google. But let's try. OK Google, set an alarm for in 10 minutes.
OK, 3:47 p.m. Setting your alarm.
I'm behind my time. So one thing I think this actually, again, in this example I use it because this is really, so it's in some other app, alarm, the clock app, and I really used a really easy entrance to just quickly execute that. I can say things similarly like, play Nothing Else Matters by Metallica.
All right.
And we show some ads probably. Or not. Not always we show ads. Again, see easily the ease of executing something in other app. I can send a WhatsApp message to Lucas.
Chat with Lucas, sure. What's the message?
We're going to drink tonight in Vienna, and we're missing you.
Got it. Do you want to send it or change it?
Send it, please.
Sending message.
So Lucas knows that always I send message to the same person. But again, note that I actually don't know whether WhatsApp has speech recognition. I don't think WhatsApp can send audio messages, but not necessarily speech recognizer, right? But I send a text message in WhatsApp from Google without necessarily needing to touch at all my phone. So the next part of my talk is about context. This actually may be the more exciting part of my talk, or where I actually have more feelings towards it also. So context is really, really important. People, when they talk, all the time we are using context. So like when if two humans are talking, if you take one sentence and then try to see whether you can understand the meaning of that sentence, I think around there's like around 70% or so that you cannot understand, except if you look into the bigger window of the conversation and try to see what that sentence meant. So same thing is we're trying to make in order to make the conversation and interactions easier. We're trying to do that with Google. So let's show a few examples. How high is Rigi?
Reggie Watts is 1.83 meters tall.
Does anyone know what I'm talking about? How high is Rigi? No one? It's a mountain in Switzerland. You're Swiss? OK. Mountains in Switzerland.
Mountains frequently mentioned on the web include Matterhorn, Jungfrau Monk, and others.
So now if I say the same thing that I said just before, how high is Rigi?
Rigi is 1,798 meters tall.
So this shows how voice recognition, speech recognition itself is very, very contextual. So just based on what we understand from the previous sentence, all of a sudden the scope is becoming much smaller, and we can detect things much better. So I showed you many times that speech recognition works, but of course sometimes it fails, and sometimes you want to fix it. So we have been also working on trying to make the fixes easier. For example, if you say, show me pictures of whales.
Pictures of whales? All right.
So maybe I meant the country Wales, so I can fix it by, no, I meant W-A-L-E-S.
Wales, all right.
So again, that you see, again, so just naturally trying to follow up with the previous and correct your previous sentences. Let's try to show more examples of that. Where is the Empire State Building?
Empire State Building is at 355th Avenue, New York, United States.
I want to see pictures.
All right, pictures for Empire State Building.
How tall is it?
381 meters, 443 meters to tip.
Who built it?
The Empire State Building was designed by William F. Lamb, Yasuo Matsui, and other architects.
When?
Construction for the Empire State Building started in March 17, 1930.
So you notice that I only said one time Empire State Building, and I even a very short, very ambiguous query like when. We can realize that when actually means when was the Empire State Building built. This is all trying to interpret things based on the context. Let's continue. Show me Italian restaurants around there.
Italian restaurants, here you go.
How about French?
All right, French restaurants.
Call the first one.
Calling I Fiori.
Okay. It's actually calling, I guess. You want to call them really? It's I think 9 a.m. in New York. So again, that you can see that how natural the conversation can become if you don't need to repeat yourself and if context is always understood. Of course, there's still a lot of contextual understanding improvements that has to happen into the technology we're building, but we have been making lots of progress in that direction. The context is not only what you said before, but it might be things that you see on the screen. For example, if you say, show me pictures of Thomas.
Okay, pictures of Thomas.
I think without any context, that's the best interpretation perhaps you can come up with. Now, if before that I was saying, Bayern Munich team roster.
The roster for FC Bayern Munich includes Robert Lewandowski, Renato Sanchez, and others.
So here actually there is someone called Thomas Muller. So now again I use this exact same sentence. Show me pictures of Thomas. Show me pictures of Thomas.
Pictures of Thomas Muller. Here
So again, the contextualness helps you to understand what exactly that sentence meant, and you interpret that. So your assistant, you also want it to be everywhere on the phone with you, and you want it to understand not only the context of what you see in search, but also the context of what you see somewhere else in some other app. For example, I can go to one of my favorite apps, Facebook, and I see some posts there, and I might have a question. And again, I should be able to use the contextualness. So I can say, OK, Google, who is the director?
Storks was directed by Nicholas Stoller and Doug Sweetland.
So note that we try to understand the context of what's on the screen and then try to interpret that sentence based on that context. Similarly, let's go to another of my favorite apps, Viber. And so here now I see a message about a restaurant, which is sent by my colleague Frederick. So if, for example, if I want to know the menu of this restaurant, I should be able to just say, OK, Google, show me the menu. So the menu just comes again. We understand that what exact piece of this page I might have been talking about, and try to again interpret things in the context. In fact, we with some product that we launched last year, and now on tap, if you have heard of that, we even don't need to say this question. So, for example, if I was here and I need to get some extra information for the most important extra information I need to have, all I need to do is to just long press on the home button and get some extra information. So the page will be analyzed, and then some information about that will be appearing. So this is now the Cascal restaurant. So you see here some deep links to different apps like Yelp and TripAdvisor. These are the apps which I have. If I click on them, it goes to exact page on those apps about that restaurant. So let's try, for example, see inside. This goes to the Maps app, and it's showing the inside of that restaurant. Note again, I'm in a conversation with a friend in Viber, and then I want to check how the inside of that restaurant looked like. I just long press on the home button. Now, if I want to make a reservation, again, I can use my assistant. Find a table. Now, this goes in Open Table. If I had the app, it goes to Open Table app. I don't have the app installed here, so this goes to the deep link URL eventually. This is the alarm that we set. And this is where I can basically just with maybe 2 more clicks to make actual reservation from a chat. So these are how we think like the contextualness and being with you everywhere, assistant being with you everywhere can enrich your experiences when you are in other apps, being a messaging app or a non-messaging app. So, but maybe I'm going to then finish my demos by showing the Google Assistant in Allo, which is what we launched a few weeks back. And so there you basically can talk. One of your contacts in Allo, the new messaging app Google has launched, is the Assistant. And you can talk either directly to the Google Assistant or use it when you're talking to your friend. So for example, so actually one thing which we finally added to our assistant is personality. We didn't add it for many years and long-time debates for many years because we were a box in search, and that was not a right place for answering hi, or say thank you, etc. But now the Google Assistant is actually having some personality. So I don't know if you have particular questions you want me to try. I'm happy to try, but I can try some. How is your day? As you see, my typing is actually not very good. So it always tries to help. It's very sweet, so I can tell him you are. You're so sweet to say that. I can send maybe emojis. Let's send a family one. I have to try that. Actually, I don't remember what we do there. Okay. Okay. But of course, it's this is to have your interaction with the assistant to be more the relationship to be a bit different than when you talk to search box. But the main objective for us is obviously to be useful and to do things for you. So pretty much everything I showed you before works here and some more. So I can say, for example, things like movies by Tom Hanks. And then we try to insert in the chat itself the answers which was coming there. So I can try to click on one of them, one of the movies, and if I want to, for example, see the trailer. So this is right, everything built in the chat itself. I can try to play it. Yeah. So this is again like things of, I mean, the other types of things I showed, like for example, my pictures of Barcelona. So you saw that one, but I'm just trying to say that everything I showed before works here too. So this is the same Google Assistant, and it's just that the experience of how this is shown. And I think everything I actually enjoyed very much, all the talks this morning. I think all those things about notifications should be not annoying. You should have suggestion chips to make the conversation going. So, and these are all, we found that these are all very, very important. I can ask for weather, obviously. Let's say weather, Vienna. Maybe because Vienna is my favorite city, I can ask to get a send me a daily update about weather in Vienna at 9 a.m., for example. And that's the amount of work which I need to do for setting up a notification. And you could do that for any other search. If you want to check out some stock or dollar to Swiss francs exchange rate or something else. Okay, so the very last, and I'm sorry if I'm over time, is I'm going to show you how this will look like when you talk to other people. Because triggering in groups, we also believe very, very strongly that this is very important. And so we have one thing which is integrated in the Allo app itself is the smart replies. When people are talking to each other, you can use the chips for just the talking itself, not necessarily the assistant. So Frederick is sending me a message, hey, I use the suggestion chips to answer. Pretty good. I can again. So it's actually a bit addictive. You can. There's a game we play sometimes between us to let's not do anything else, only click on the chips, and see whether we fall in the loop or not. But then again, you want to do more useful stuff. So here, Frederick is telling me, let's go out for dinner. And as you see, one of the suggestions, which is also there's this icon of the assistant beside, is actually some restaurants nearby. So we did not explicitly ask the assistant to help us. Assistant kind of just analyzed the page and then tried to say, OK, at this moment, they're talking about going out for dinner, so maybe I can help them. This is Burger King or Bar Cafe, so I don't want this one, so I can say, how about Austrian food? So again, you see that quickly there's another suggestion coming, Austrian food places nearby. And then again, I have another list here. We can click here. So this is actually a very interesting experience because two people or potentially a group of people are trying to search something together or plan something together. And the cards and information is just adding extra information for making that experience richer. Finally, the very final example is that, of course, you can also directly, this is like implicitly assistant trying to help. You can also explicitly ask for help. For example, you can say at Google, if you want, for example, funny cats pics. So this basically issues a search query for me and then shows the top results of that search right in the chat itself. So with that, I quickly go to my final slide. So I do a very quick recap of, the one thing actually I want you to take on from this is actually voice recognition worked. Really, it maybe failed one time, so that's actually something to keep in mind. I showed you we're investing and improving in answering things, whether this is about the world or about your world. The search in apps and messaging apps in particular to be integrated very well. This is very important. Actions are very important because you want to get things done. Context, super important again, both for search for voice recognition, like their how high is Rigi example, or the context of what you said before, or context of where you are, or what's on your screen. And finally, the Google Assistant in Allo. And Google Assistant is actually in very, very soon, it's launching in other surfaces on the new Pixel phones and on the Google Home, the device, which is similar to Amazon Echo. So that's the new surfaces where you can also interact similarly to the Google Assistant. So I'm kind of feeling privileged to be to working in a team that, if this question is asked to me, is the ultimate assistant and these movies science fiction? I would say no. I don't think these are science fiction. And the future of search is actually indeed an ultimate conversational assistant, which is helping you during your daily life so that you can focus on things which matter. Thank you.